Hello students, welcome back to the C programming lecture series. I, Kirti Sharma, am working as an assistant professor in St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Gurugram. Today in this lecture, I am going to discuss here the Unit 4 of your syllabus that may consist of various topics. So we are starting with the array topic in Unit 4. So in today's lecture, we will discuss the introduction to the array, then different types of the array. So your array can be one dimensional, two dimensional array. So keep note here regarding the arrays. So if anyone asking you the types of the array, there are like one dimensional array, two dimensional array. Up to now it is not stopped here. Multi-dimensional arrays can also be possible, but as a beginner you need to learn the best command on the one dimensional and two dimensional array. So that's why we will discuss the 1D and 2D array today. So it is possible to evaluate to work upon the multi-dimensional array also. Okay, so let's start with the topic array. After array we have some topics that are remaining here in the unit 4. Today is the starting only for the unit 4 of your syllabus. So remaining topics will be string, then pointers, then how to work with the functions like with the help of strings, arrays. So we will discuss all these things one by one. So let's start with the introduction to the array. So here is a definition of the array. Like array is in C language, it's a collection of group of elements. That means all elements in array must be homogeneous. So first thing, it's a collection of group of elements, right? And all these elements should be of same type. That means homogeneous. So formal definition for the array you can say array is a collection of homogeneous data elements. It has contiguous memory location. So here three things that we have noted. What? It's a collection of elements. Next point to be noted here, homogeneous. All the elements should be homogeneous. And third point, last point but not the least point, it should be in contiguous memory location. So that's the main basic of the array. Array is a collection of the elements. Why is the need of the array? Because in the simple variables we can store only one value. That's for example, I'm taking here any space for the num variable. So you can store any single value in a num memory space, right? If you are taking it integer type, a single value you can store at a memory location, right? So like if you want to store the 10 different numbers, so you need to take the 10 variables in order to store the 10 numbers. But array makes our task easier. Like it's very complicated if you have need the 100 numbers, so you need to declare the 100 variables separately and you have to use them with the separate names. So it's become very complicated. So this problem is solved by the array. So array do the one thing, it do the collection of the elements whatever you need, but it put a restriction. What? All the elements should be of the homogeneous type. That means similar. So similar data type should be there for all the elements, and all those elements must be there in the memory, in the contiguous memory location. What it's mean? Contiguous memory location, they will store one after another. Okay, so there will not be any space or any other element. There should not be in the while storing the element, all the elements of a single array. So if 10 elements are there in an array, all the 10 elements will store in a sequence. Nothing will be there in between them. So that means contiguous memory location. Okay, so I hope it is clear to all. Array is a collection of homogeneous data elements. All those elements will be stored in the contiguous memory location. So it was all about the basics introductory part of the array. Next we have there is some benefits to store the array. I have already told you. Like if you want to store the marks of the 50 students, rather than taking the 50 different variables and store them into the different variables, it will be very complicated and hard to manage. That's why we are declaring the we are using the array variables in order to solve this problem. So our theme is clear why we are studying array. Then what is the specialty of the array that we know right now, right? So with this specialty we have to use this array. So rather than writing the number of lines on the declaration of the different variables, we can sum up it into the one single line by using the array variables. Okay, so there are some advantages of the array. So what are those? First advantage is code optimization. Of course, you are rather than declaring the 50 variables separately, we are declaring all the values in a single variable with the help of array. It's minimizing the code. So it is doing the optimization task. So next is easy to traverse data. So by using the for loop, we can retrieve the elements of the array. So because we know all the elements stored in the array are in contiguous memory location. Contiguous means one after the another. So all the elements are in a sequence. So we can traverse the data easily by using the for loop. So for loop we are taking, you can take any of the loop, but for loop is the most efficient loop that we know. That's why I'm taking here for loop. Okay, so it makes our task easier. Next specialty of the array is it is easy to sort the data. If you're using the number of the elements in the array, then it's easy to sort the all the elements in easy way, because one specialty, all the data is available in a sequence, so you can do comparison one after the another. So each and every element can be compared easily, right? So it's make our task easy to sort the data elements. Last but not least, random access. What it's mean? Actually, we can access any of the element randomly using the array by using the concept of indexing. We have to assign the index, or with the help of those indexes we can press any of the element. We can access the any of the element throughout the array. Either array consists of 100 elements, 1000 elements, we can take out single random element with the help of index. These are the specialties of the array. So along with the advantages or features, we have drawback also. So what is the drawback of the array? So fixed size is the drawback of the array. Why is it so? Actually, whatever is the size, we define it at the time of declaration of the array only, right? Or we have to define the array size at the time of declaration only. So we cannot exceed the limit. If we want in between the more size of the array, we cannot update the size of the array at the time of execution dynamically on the basis of need. If you have defined it at the time of declaration, it will remain same. You cannot update it. That's the major drawback of the array. Okay, so next there are two types of the array, one dimensional array and two dimensional array, that we will study. And one more thing, mark here, multi-dimensional array can also be possible. As a beginner, like I'm giving you the for giving you the better clarity, I'm taking here only two arrays, one dimensional array and two dimensional array. So on the basis of your syllabus also we will discuss the same, but multi-dimensional array can also be possible. So keep this thing in your mind. So first we have the one dimensional array. So one dimensional array, before going through the example for the one dimensional array, there is a need to understand the declaration part, how to declare an array. By using the data type, first you have to write here, this is the syntax for to declare the array. Data type you have to write here, then after name of the variable, array variable, then in the subscripts here you have to write the size, how many element you want to store in the array, that you have to mention over here. I have already told you it's a drawback of the array also, that you have to mention the size of the array at the time of the declaration of the array variable only. You cannot do implement in between if you are writing or if you are declaring the array variable size during the declaration. Okay, so this is an example. Int is your data type, marks is the array name, and 5 is the size of the array. That means you are going to insert the 5 integer values or 5 integer numbers elements in the array variable marks. So what is the way to store it into the memory? It will not be visible to you, but I am showing here to you how it will store into the memory. There are the 5 memory locations, all named as marks. Okay, so there are some indexing, like 0 always by default start with the 0 indexing. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3 and up to 4. These are the 5 slots in the memory that are contiguous manner allocated to the array name marks. Okay, so at the 0th place, 1 place, 2nd place, 3rd and 4th place, you can store any of the 5 integer values as a marks. Okay, so this is a representation of the array. Next, what we have here I've already told you, like int is a data type, marks is the array name, and 5 size the array. Next, after declaration part, we have initialization part. So how to initialize the one dimensional array? So simple initialization is shown here with the help of indexes, right? So an array index starts from 0 by default, but it's depend on the user. User can start from anywhere, but by default it will start from 0 and with the whatever is the size of the array minus 1. Let's assume we have already taken the size of the array as 5. So last and element index will be size minus 1, 4. 4 will be the last index, because 0 to 4 we are going to store the 5 elements now. So 0 to 4, first index value will be 0 and last will be 4 in case of the example that we are taking, if we are taking the size of the array variable as 5. Okay, so marks 0, marks 1, within the subscripts here we have to return the index value. With the help of index value you can assign the value at that particular index. So just look over here, like here in this particular syntax, that like memory allocation, and this is the initialization part actually. Marks variable 0th size, that is showing the index value, 0th index. So first value of the marks will be 80, that I have aligned here, right? So next, what is assigned here? When 1 at the 1 index value of the marks, 60 value is assigned here, right? Then 2, 70, 3, 85, 4th 75. Left over whatever is the memory is will remain contiguous now, but we have to store up to now because we have the mark size up to now here, right? So remaining part, it could be anything else, but we have to work over here up to now only, right? So this is the initialization part. There are multiple ways to initialize the array. This was the simplest way to initialize the array, by going at the particular location and store the value. So by going to the particular index value, here we are assigning the value of the array variable marks at that particular index, right? So you can take an example over here. If you have a book, always every book having an index page, this topic is on that page, this topic is on that page. So if you don't want to read the complete book, you can go at a specific page in order to study that particular topic itself. That is the main working of the index in the array also. So these indexing are working as a page number here, right? So at that particular page, by going to that particular page, you can access the single value of that array variable also. Okay, because all the pages are aligned, all the index values are assigned in a sequence, right? So you can correlate it with the help of like example of the book itself. So next, what we have here, an example to get the better clarity about the one dimensional array. So first here we have the int main. So after int main, we have declared the I variable and initialized it with the 0, right? In the declaration of the array, we have declared the marks with the size 5 integer data type. So we have to insert the 5 integer values in variable marks, right? So how could we initialize marks 0 is equals to 80, that as we have already seen, right? Now we have to traverse all the array elements. So whatever we have stored in the array, now we want to access them, right? So with the help of for loop, our task become easier. Why? Like I have already told you, either you can declare it here or here. So it may show you the multiple declaration. If you are not declaring it, initializing the value of I equals to 0 here, you have to initialize it over here. If you are not initializing here, then you have to start here 0, right? It's up to the user. You can take anything, okay? So from 0 and condition is less than 5, that means up to 4 you have to go by doing the increment into the I. And what should you have to do in this loop part? You have to print the marks value. With the help of I, we are trying to take the index value. So each and every time we are updating the index value with the help of increment operator, and for loop with the help of for loop we are repeating the same statement again and again. So for loop is helping us in order to increment and to check the condition up to when it is not going to be false, and printing the same thing again and again, right? So here what it will be there, marks, first value of I will be 0, marks 0. At the 0th index, what we have inserted the marks 80. So it will print the 80 value. The next time it will show increment the I value as 1. Yes, it is true, satisfying the condition. Then it will come in the next line. Na? So after printing the 80, it will come in the next line and it will print what? 60. The next line 70, next line 85, 75. So it will goes on up to the 5th value or the 4th index value. So it was all about how to access the array values, array elements with the help of for loop. So it will be the output of the program 80, 60, 70, 85, 75 in the this is 85, 80, right, in the separate lines. Why is it so? Because of slash and escape sequence. Okay, so this was the simplest example for the one-dimensional array. There are more multiple ways to declare the or initialization of the array. As we know, declaration and initialization also possible simultaneously. Parallelly, you can assign both the things in a single line of code, right? So here an array also it is possible. Here we are declaring a array int data type marks and 5 is the size of the array variable. Here with the help of curly braces we are assigning all the 5 values one after another. So along with the declaration here we are giving providing the declaration initialization part also. So that's why it's known as declaration with initialization, and it is on in the case of the one dimensional array. One more thing that you can mark over here, same thing I am representing over here without writing any size of the variable. First thing, it is not mandatory to write the size of the size of the array variable here. It is not mandatory, it is totally optional. If you are writing it, you are restricting the elements to insert into that variable. If you are not writing, you are not restricting the value. You can assign any number of the values here in the marks variable. So in such case there is no requirement to define the size. If you have not if you have not decided yet how many elements there is going to be insert in that particular variable, then you can keep it empty. If you will write any value size here, then you will be restricted. You cannot implement or you cannot update while during the execution of the program. So in large number of the elements, like if you will talk about the 1000, 10,000, it may becomes complicated. So for the simpler values you can do anything, right? So of course it has its application in large number of values. So next is, there is an example, one more example to get the better clarity regarding how to declare and initialize the array elements one after another. So we are not taking separately here, like how to declare an array and how to initialize array. We are going to both the things simultaneously. So here we have declared and initialized it, and with the help of for loop we are accessing each and every element with the help of index values. Like I is a variable that we are taking here for indexing purpose, and we are printing it in the next line each and every value. Marks 0, 20 value it will print, marks 1, so it will print each and every. This is a constant value you are assigning here. You can also use the scanf function to insert the values of the array variable at the time of execution also. So it's up to you. If you want to provide it statically, or constant values, you can provide it with the help of curly braces or simpler with the help of index values. And if you want to assign the values to the variable at the time of execution on the basis of need, so you can do it also with the help of scanf function. Okay, so I hope it is clear to all. So next we have two-dimensional array. Same thing we are going to discuss about the two-dimensional array also. Like two-dimensional array is a representation in the form of rows and columns. Like in the one-dimensional we have x-axis only, two-dimensional x and y, three-dimensional x, y, z. So as like this. Now we are going to discuss the two-dimensional array. So you can take an example for the two-dimensional array as a matrix. Matrix is having the rows and columns like x-axis and y-axis also. So it's a best example that you can take here for the matrix here. So array is a list of you can also known as arrays of array of arrays, and list of arrays, because we are having here multiple nested loops here, like x and y axis, for the x and y axis, same as like two-dimensional, three-dimensional, or any dimensional array can be possible. That is known as multi-dimensional array, that we know already. So in order to get the better clarity regarding the two-dimensional array, we will discuss the how to declare, how to initialize the two-dimensional arrays. So it's a syntax here, how to declare it. Same thing here. First you have to write the data type, then you have to write the array name, then there is a to subscript. If you are using the to subscript, like you have to write the size of the like x-axis and size of the y-axis. You can say here size of the row and size of the column over here. If you are using the two-dimensional array, two subscript will be there. If you are using three-dimensional array, then three subscript will be there. If you are using n-dimensional, then n subscripts will be there. So along with the subscripts, you are deciding here, like in two-dimensional row or column you can take, or x and y axis according to. So if you are doing the C like graphics problem, you are trying to solve using the C programming, using the multi-dimensional array, like three-dimensional array you are taking to show the 3D animations. So it will represent the x-axis, it will represent the y-axis, it will represent the z-axis. So it's up to the need. You can take any number of dimensionals of array here. So now here we are discussing the two-dimensional here. So come back to our topic, like two-dimensional array. So how to this is an example, this is a declaration part, like data type here, name of the variable, then row size and column size. So here row numbers, 4 number of rows will be there, 3 number of columns will be there, right? So next, how to initialize the 2D array, right? So initialization part is there. So of course you know, you can initialize the array variable with the help of indexing also. Like for example, I'm taking here an example like ARR, name of the array 0 0. At the 0th row, 0th column, I'm assigning the value 1. At the 0th 1, I'm assigning the value 2. Rather than, like, you can write all these particular like possibilities with respect to 4 rows and 3 columns, one after another. It will become very complicated in case, like, if you are just increasing the number of elements to insert, it will become complicated. So now here another thing is here, during the declaration also, with the help of curly braces you can initialize the arrays also. So how it is possible? Here 3, how many columns are there? Like 4 rows, 3 columns, right? So in the first thing, it is declaring like 1 2 3, all the 3 elements you can write over here, like column wise or row wise, it's up to the user, you can insert, right? So 1 2 3, you have inserted 1 2 3 first column values, then 2 3 4, right? 2 3 4 second column values, 3 4 5, then 4 5 6, all the values you can insert with the help of curly braces. So 1 2 3 column wise it is inserting. If you want to insert the row wise, then you also can insert. Same example I'm taking, trying to insert in the row wise. How can you insert? 1 2 3 4 first row, comma second row, 2 3 4 5 second row, third row 3 4 5 6, so third row. Within the complete curly braces you can assign like 3 how many columns are there, so it will represent here how many rows are there, It is represented by internal curly braces here, right? So how many rows? You can assign the values like row wise and column wise here. How many rows? 1, 2, 3 rows here. How many columns here? Internal size of the curly braces is showing the column number. So 4 elements are there. That means 4 columns here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 columns, internal braces showing, and 3 rows outer side like braces having the 3 elements as a set of sub elements. So 3 columns, 3 rows. This is the way to represent or initialize the array variable. So let's take an example to get the better clarity regarding how to initialize it and declare and initialize the two-dimensional array. So here two-dimensional array declaration, this is the initialization part with the help of for loop. Now we also can access this particular part. So we are taking here two for loop, that's nested for loop, you can say. Loop inside the loop, that is called nested for loop. Why is it so? Here we are taking the two variables I and j. You can declare it here also, and like it's a multiple declaration error will be there. No need to declare it here because we are declaring it over here, right? So I equals to 0. Up to when you have to move the I value. Let's assume this 4 is representing the I, this is representing the j. So I is for row and j is for column, right? So I value has to go up to the fourth index value, that is like 0 to 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 rows completed na, 0, 1, 2, 3. And what about the columns? It must go 0 to 3. That means 0, 1, 2. I'm just updating it. You can write here 0 to 3, right? So what about the next thing here? You are going to discuss like I value. I'm just trying to just interpret it. You can interpret it with the help of, like, if you are using the turbo C, then you can use the F8 for the interpretation. So interpretation is will execute your program line by line. So how it will execute, like I'm taking the ij two columns. First I value is 0, and what it will printf function I'm writing here. For I value 0, it is coming here for the next for loop. J value is also 0 here. Now condition is true for both, like that's why we are coming inside of the loop. Now it will print what? Percent, like array value, whatever is the ij value, it will print here, right? Percentage d, here it will write the, it will print array 0, first index value 0, 0, and by writing equals value, it will write the value of that particular array variable. Our array is 0, 0. What is the value? 1. So it will print 1 here. Next, it will do the increment in the j value. Now I value is 0 itself, but j value is incremented. So now array 0, I value 0 here, and like 0, 0 we have already covered. I value 0, j value 1. What is the value here at 0, 1? It's 2 here. So it will print 2, right? Next, /n is in for the next line here, right? Next, again update into the value of j. J value will become 2. It will write 3. Yes. Now, I value is remaining is same. Now we are updating the j value to 3. Is it true? No, it will become false because the j value must be less than 3. Then it will come out of this loop, j loop. Then now it will go to the for loop of I. Now I value will increment by 1, and again j loop will restart with the 0. 1, 0 value. That means they see here, this particular part is completed here. Now we are coming over here 2. So it will print 2 at 1, 0th. So 1, 1, it will print 3. And so on. You can print each and everything, and at last if will I value will become 4, it will terminate. Why? Because I is indicating less than 4. So if it will become equals to 4, it will terminate. So from both the loops we are coming outside, and we are returning 0. That is indicating the successful execution of the for loop or your print array program, whatever you have done, right? So it was all about the array, two-dimensional array. I hope it is clear to all. It's very simple. You can take the screenshot, like how it will show the output. This is the output that I've already told you. At 0, 0 index, it will print 1, 0th 1, 0, 2. When true, it will become j value will become 3. This j value will become 3, it will become false. Then for loop from j, it will come outside and it will go to the I, and I value will increment by 1. it will become 1, and j value will restart with 0. Same, it will go for the 1, like I value 1, j value 1, j value 2. Now again j value will become 3, it will become false. Now it will again come back to the I value, and I value will increment by 2, and j value will restart 0, 1, 2. Again I value will become 3, then it will become false, and it will again come back to the I value, and I value will increment by 1, it will become 3. Again j value will restart 0, 1, 2. Again it will become false at the 3. Then again it will come to the I value, and it will update it by 4. Now it's seen here I value is also false. That's why I and j, although both are going to be false here, nothing has to traverse after that. So you have to take the exit, and return 0 is returning the successful execution of the program. So it was all about the example. We have discussed already one dimensional array, two dimensional array. So you can execute the same program with the help of scanf also. Like scanf is used here in order to provide the input at the time of execution, dynamically insertion of the elements. So again, if we are traversing or printing or displaying the elements of the array with the help of for loops, nested for loop, same thing we can do here with the help of, like, if you want to insert the elements in the array, again we need to put the for loop. So if you want to put the one dimensional array, single for loop will be there. In case of multi-dimensional array, you have to use the two nested for loop. So with the help of like for loop, I equals to 0, I is less than 4, and I increment, right? For the nested loop, what you have to do, again you have to apply the for loop for the column 0, j value is less than 4, and do increment in j. The next, in the for loop, you have to apply the scanf, and in scanf you can insert the values like percentage d. I'm writing here, where you have to write here %, array is the ARR, and percent is the will trace the address, then array is the name of the variable ARR, and you have to write here I and j, right? So both the for loops curly braces over. Now this particular line of codes will give you like clarity, like how to insert the elements in same order as in the previous example. I have already told you in detail, like how to use the I and j variables in order to the increment, how these loops are executing. So same thing, they will use the same I and j index values in order to insert the values also with the help of scanf. Same like if we will use printf again, you cannot do the same thing in a single loop, printf and scanf. Why? Because if you can do, it will not show an error, but it is not reliable. Like both the things, if one element you are inserting, one element same element you are displaying, so it will not be the like healthy scenario to see the array elements in a two-dimensional array. So we can take the nested for loops again, two nested for loops for displaying the same elements. Okay, so two array nested array as loops for the insertion of the two array elements in the two-dimensional array, and same for you can do to printing it. Okay, so it was all about the discussion all about the one-dimensional and two-dimensional array. So you can use the scanf and printf with the for loop to give the runtime values in two-dimensional array also, right? So I hope it is clear to all that this was the introductory part of the array. So how to use the array with the one-dimensional, declaration of the array, initialization of the array. Same for the two-dimensional array, how to use the arrays. So we have taken some programs here as an example. You can use or you can implement those programs practically in order to get the better clarity. So thanks. Have a nice day. We will stay tuned with the lecture. We will discuss remaining things in the next lecture. That will be arrays with the functions. So arrays and functions simultaneously. So stay tuned with the lectures. Thank you. Have a nice day.